I'll never forget that night. The sound that tore through the valley wasn't thunder. It was the ground itself groaning, breaking, giving way beneath $6 million mansions, and as the sirens wailed, as the homes slid toward the swamp like toys on a tilted board, one thought ran through my head. This is what happens when you bury a creek that was never yours to touch. Act 1. The conflict begins. My name's Jake Turner, 48 years old, mechanic. Born and raised right here in this patch of land long before the McMansions rolled in. My dad used to fish in the creek that cut through our property. When I was a kid, I caught my first frog there, mud up to my knees, proud like I'd won a trophy. That little creek wasn't just water. It was memory, history, blood in the veins of our family land. But to the Homeowners Association, it was an eyesore. Eloise Dero, president, queen of hairspray and high heels, stood at the front of the clubhouse, pointing at a picture of my creek like it was a crime scene. "This ditch," she sneered, "is dragging down our property values. It breeds mosquitoes. It's ugly. We'll fill it in with concrete, smooth, green space. Problem solved." And the room, they clapped, actually clapped. I raised my hand. "You can't do that. You blocked this water here. It's gonna back up. It has to go somewhere." She gave me the smile you give a stray dog sniffing at your picnic. "Sir, we've consulted a landscaper." "A landscaper?" I laughed. "Not an engineer. Not the county. This is private property." She snapped. "We handle things ourselves." And that's when I said it, the truth that froze the room. "That creek isn't yours. It runs through my land, and always has." She blinked, then waved her hand like I was a buzzing fly. "Go home. It's already decided." By July, the cement trucks were lined up behind my house, dumping ton after ton of gray death into the channel. I stood at her gate, begging one last time. "Eloise, this is a mistake." She didn't even look at me, just sipped her martini and waved me off. That night, string lights glowed over her patio while she toasted the death of my creek with champagne. I sat on my porch staring at the silence where water used to laugh, and I swear it felt like losing a friend. Act 2, Escalation and Turning Point. The first storm came in September. Gutters filled, lawns soaked, but the water didn't leave. Couldn't. The creek was gone, sealed under 3 feet of concrete. By October, trees leaned sideways, roots drowning in mud. By November, the whole valley was a swamp. And me, I started to doubt myself. Standing ankle-deep in muck, I thought maybe they were right. Maybe I was just the stubborn mechanic with the rusty pickup, lowering the neighborhood's aesthetic. Maybe the creek was just a ditch. Maybe I should have let it go. I almost believed it, until the storm that broke everything. That night, the rain didn't fall, it attacked. Sheets of water hammered rooftops, clawed down driveways. I stood on my porch watching it boil up from the ground, filling backyards, swallowing the stone patio where Eloise once laughed in my face. And then it happened. The earth moaned half thunder, half scream, and the big house on the far side of the cul-de-sac, the one with the infinity pool and the wine cellar bigger than most apartments, started to move, slowly at first. Then with a sickening slide, the whole slope gave way. Patio furniture, imported statues, a gleaming fence, all tumbling into darkness as a $60 million mansion followed. Neighbors screamed, sirens wailed in the distance, and I just stood there, coffee mug frozen halfway to my mouth, watching the universe deliver its punchline. The next morning, while they gathered in the clubhouse with their coffee and pastries like they weren't sitting in the middle of a disaster, I walked in, muddy boots and all. Eloise, perfect hair, perfect voice, was saying, "We need a recovery plan. Pumps, insurance claims, maybe even a fundraiser." I actually laughed out loud. "A fundraiser? You gonna sell brownies to pay for a mansion in the swamp?" Gasps, glares. And then I pulled out the old metal box my dad left me, set the deed on the table, tapped the map with one muddy finger. This creek. My creek has been in my family since before this subdivision was a twinkle in some developer's eye. And you filled it in, which means every flooded yard, every sinking foundation is on you. Silence, the kind that makes the air heavy, faces pale. They knew. This wasn't just water anymore. This was lawsuits, money, blame. That was the turning point. For me, for them, for all of us. Act 3. Climax and justice. It only got worse. 3 more houses slid like ships breaking their moorings. I waded through waist-deep water to pull a kid named Eli onto the hood of a truck, rescued a German shepherd from a collapsing porch, hauled boxes of wedding photos, and folded flags into my barn, while the HOA president shouted at landscapers to get the pumps going. But no pump in the world could drain a lake built on arrogance. The final blow came at the clubhouse. Cracks split the sidewalk, widened across the foundation. Chief Miller, the fire chief, bellowed, "Everybody out, now!" Chairs scraped. People scrambled. Inside, Eloise stood frozen, mouth open as the floor tilted beneath her heels. I grabbed her arm. "We have to go." She looked at me like she was finally seeing me. Not the eyesore neighbor, not the nuisance, just a man who'd been right all along. Fear, loneliness, all of it flashed in her eyes. We stumbled for the doorway as the floor groaned. Boards flexed, lights shattered. The ground outside sagged, opening into a wet, yawning sinkhole, and Eloise slipped. Her fingers clawed the concrete edge, sliding toward the dark. I didn't think. I dove, stomach slamming the wet slab, hand shooting out. "Grab me!" Her cold hand locked with mine. For one terrifying second, I thought we'd both go under. Then the firefighters strapped us, hauling inch by inch until we rolled onto the grass. Just as the slab collapsed into the pit, Eloise curled on the ground, shaking, her silk blouse ruined, her voice a whisper. I should have listened. The county officers arrived soon after. Rita Morales, environmental enforcement, stood ankle-deep in the mud, staring at the drowned valley. "Who authorized this concrete?" she demanded. Eloise tried. Weakly, "We're the victims here." Rita's eyebrow lifted. "Ma'am, the victims are the families standing in line for triage. The land is a victim. The river downstream is a victim. Laws don't exist to make your backyard pretty." And with that, it was done. Emergency orders, fines, investigations, HOA stripped of authority. I stood on my porch again, coffee in hand, watching excavators tear open the concrete plug, releasing the water back into its rightful path. The creek roared like it was laughing again, like it remembered. And Eloise, she sat wrapped in a blanket, silent for once, her kingdom drowned, her power gone. Closing line. Water always remembers where it belongs, and so does justice.